Okay, so good morning, everyone. My name is Ying Yi, and I'm delighted to be here today to present a topic that's close to my heart: parental involvement in early learning. So, as an early childhood educator and someone deeply passionate about child development, I believe that behind every confident child is an adult who believes in them first, and often that adult is parents. Today, I will take you through why parental involvement is not just beneficial but essential in shaping a child's early educational journey. We'll explore compelling evidence, real-world examples, theoretical frameworks, and implications for educators and policymakers. Now, let's look at the next slide. Okay, so this is the table of contents. Okay, the introduction, brief summary, discussion, conclusion, and reference will be covered in this presentation. So, parental involvement is not just helpful, it is foundational to a child's early development. During the early years of life, especially from birth to age 6, children experience rapid brain development. This is a sensitive period when children acquire essential skills such as communication, emotional regulation, basic reasoning, social interaction, and early literacy and numeracy. In this crucial developmental window, the presence and participation of parents acts as a powerful catalyst that enhances learning and overall well-being. So, why is parental involvement so important at this stage? Okay, the first one, parents are child's first teacher. Long before formal schooling begins, children learn by observing, imitating, and interacting with the people closer to them, usually their parents or primary caregiver. So when parents talk, read, sing, or play with their children, they are not only bonding emotionally but also stimulating neural connection in the child's brain. Secondly, parental involvement boosts learning outcomes. Research has shown a strong link between active parental involvement and improved academic performance. For example, Sanmali and Harris demonstrated that children whose parents regularly engage them in storytelling and conversation have better language development, listening skills, and attention span. Also, it also nurtures emotional and social development. So children who receive consistent emotional support and encouragement from their parents tend to be more confident, resilient, and socially competent. According to Lee and Kim, parental engagement was a protective factor that helped preschoolers to manage the stress, develop empathy, and build problem-solving skills. So this aligns with the Brom Van Brenner view that the family as a core part of a child microsystem strongly influence emotional well-being and interpersonal behavior. So parental involvement shapes positive attitudes towards learning. When children see their parents valuing education like reading books, visiting library, or participating in school activities, they internalize those values. And lastly, it lays the foundation for strong homeschool collaboration. When parents are engaged in their child's education, teachers can better understand the child's background, needs, and also their interests. This two-way partnership creates a consistent support system across home and school. Now, let me walk you through key insights drawn from five recent studies, each shedding light on how parental involvement shapes early learning across the diverse cultural and socio-economic background. Let me walk you through key insights drawn from the five recent studies. So the first one from Sanamali Herring. So this study emphasizes on how parent-led storytelling, singing, and guided play at home positive influence the children's language development, social emotional regulation, listening, and attention span. This highlights the local culturally embedded practice like the traditional songs or home story can also be powerful tools to boost school readiness, especially in low-resource environments. The second one, Santigor Mark. Okay, for this research which focused on rural communities in northern summer, this study showed that The daily 15 to 20 minutes of reading, counting, drawing with children at home leads to better literacy and numeracy outcomes. Despite poverty, parental time and encouragement make the biggest difference in learning success. And the third one, Weldon and Kamukama. This international study examines the barriers faced by parents in engaging with early education, such as lack of confidence, language or cultural mismatches, institutional gaps in support, so which calls for targeted training, flexible communication strategies, and inclusive social cultures to empower parents across backgrounds. The fourth one, Gonzalez Gomez. So, in this study, which introduced the co-produced activity packs for parents of 1 to 3 years old, the results show that parents became more active learning partners, and children show more curiosity and exploration, and the activity increased positive parent and child interaction. So, which supports collaborative resource design as an effective way to bridge home and school learning. Lastly, Bilbao. This research focusing on immigrant families and which highlight the intercultural sensitivity and trust building are crucial. The immigrant parents were eager to participate but felt excluded or unacknowledged. So the successful models foster open communication, mutual respect, and cultural responsiveness. So which reinforce the need for inclusive family engagement strategies, especially in multicultural settings. So, this finding call for educator collaboration, policy reforms, and innovative homeschool strategies that embrace diversity, build confidence, and support every family potential to contribute meaningfully to early childhood education. So, let's now shift our focus to something often overlooked, the everyday interaction between parents and children. These small, consistent moments form the foundation of early childhood development and school readiness. So, what are everyday interaction? Okay, actually, they are the routine, low-cost, but high-impact activities parents do with their children, often unconsciously. For example, talking during mealtime or while working, reading bedtime story, singing rhyme while breastfeeding, asking questions during play, helping children express emotion. So this interaction don't require expensive tools, just presence, patience, and attentiveness. So, what does the research say that? Across all five primary studies, everyday interaction will consistently identified as powerful driver of early learning outcome, especially in language, cognitive, and social emotional development. So, according to Sandamali Hara, in rural Sri Lanka, parents who engage in simple practice like storytelling and singing saw their children show better vocabulary, listening skills, and emotional resilience. So, this study emphasized that home-based, culturally rooted activities are not only accessible but highly effective. And according to Santiago Marx, in communities with limited access to early learning centers in northern Samar, Philippines, the researchers found that as little as 15 minutes a day of reading or drawing significantly improved children's readiness for school. So, we know that time and positive attention from caregiver is more important than academic qualification or well. So, according to Wellman and Tony Camel, this global comparative study noted that while many parents underestimate the educational value of everyday talk and play, those who are encouraged by teachers become more confident. And according to Gonzalez, through co-designed activity packs in UK, researchers saw how guided activity empower parents to turn daily routines into intentional learning moments. For example, parents use stickers and cards during breakfast time to teach number of feelings. This boosts both child engagement and parents' confidence. Lastly, Bell's study among immigrant families in Spain highlighted how trust and cultural sensitivity encourage parents to share their own traditions like lullabies, home language, or stories from their homeland. So this enriched children's identity, language development, and belonging. The parents felt validated and empowered to contribute even without formal education background. So children's brain grows rapidly in the early years, and this nature repeated engagement lay the wiring for how they learn, relate, and behave later in life. Okay, so when we think about parental involvement, we often focus on academic outcome, reading, counting, or language skills. But its emotional and behavioral impact is equally, if not more, significant. So, parental involvement acts as an emotional anchor for young children, especially during their most formative years. According to Lee and Kim, children in current households who experience consistent parental presence and warmth, even in times of financial or social hardship, show higher levels of emotional regulation, problem-solving ability, and overall well-being. In short, parental consistency becomes a safe emotional base that helps children manage stress and adversity. So, Pan Jo Wong explored parental roles in early childhood across Chinese communities and found that emotionally responsive parents was associated with lower levels of aggression, tantrums, and separation sensitive in preschool. So children who felt seen, heard, and emotionally supported at home adapt better socially in school environments. So to better understand why parental involvement is so effective, we can turn to establish developmental theories that provide a psychological and pedagogical backbone for this practice. So, according to Bronfenbrenner's ecological system theory, which emphasizes that a child development is shaped by different environmental systems, starting with the microsystem, which include the home, parents, and close caregivers. Bronfenbrenner argued that consistent interaction between children and their parents creates the first and most powerful context of growth. In all five river studies, the home environment consistently emerged as a critical arena of emotional, social, and cognitive development. And according to Vygotsky, introduced the concept of more knowledgeable adult MKO, someone who helps the child learn their zone of proximal development. In most early childhood settings, parents the first impulse helping children understand the language, behavior, emotion, and cultural norms through guided participation. For example, Gonzalo Gomez demonstrates how parents supported with core design material naturally scaffold their children's learning, whether through naming objects, explaining daily routines, or playing simple games. This reinforces that learning is a social progress that begins at home, and parents are uniquely positioned to kickstart that process. So, at the policy level, parental involvement must be seen as systematic institution, institutional responsibility, not an optional or individual initiative. So, although many national education policies acknowledge the value of family engagement, few provide the operation creative funding or accountability mechanism need to implement it effectively. So this gap leaves school without the resources or guidance to sustain family school partnership, especially in low-income or multilingual community. So what policies should include? Okay, they could provide clear national guidelines. For example, define what meaningful parental involvement look like using measurable indicators such as parent satisfaction, frequency of home learning activity, and cultural responsiveness. So these metrics help standardize expectation across school and ensure inclusion. The second, dedicated funding. Allocate budget for hiring family engagement coordinator, organizing parents workshop and events, and also producing multilingual take-home materials and digital content. Lastly, professional development for educators are important. For example, may train principals and teachers in community engagement strategies, culturally responsive communication, inclusive planning, and decision making. Building trust through relationship is also important. For example, parental involvement begins with human connection. So the research highlights that parents are more willing to engage when they feel respected and included, but not just judged or dismissed. So now let's come to the conclusion. Parental involvement is not a privilege for some families, it's a right for every child and a responsibility for every system. Whether rich or poor, educated or not, every parent has something valuable to offer. Our role is to recognize, support, and uplift those efforts because when family and educators work together, the children thrive. So that's all of my presentation, and here is the reference list that I referred to. Thank you.